And we're back after that last week, the 100th episode. We're back for the next 100, I guess. We're locking in for the next centenary, and you can get excited by pre-ordering a Vacuous Perspective 200 t-shirt, yet to be designed, but we'll get that in the works. Nate, always good to see ya.
I didn't realise we were back at square one.
In a way.
Yeah.
We're in binary terms, we're yeah, nah, yeah?
Yeah, I guess we are. Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, 101. 101's makes me think of Chemistry 101. You know,
or
when
anything
it's like
101?
the foundational unit. So maybe we've done all the, I don't know, like high school bullshit, and now we're into tertiary.
Wow, you've gone like that. You haven't even gone kindergarten, pre-primary, primary school. We've gone straight into the sort of upper echelon in terms of the academics.
Yeah, it's about to get serious.
I
know, is it the torture chamber in 1984, George Orwell's 1984? I don't know if you've actually read that. But
that's
one.
You give me enough credit to think I've read George Orwell's 1984. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. So, look, I'm aware broadly about, you know, the themes involved, but no, I'm not aware of this torture device.
Oh, no, it's a room.
Called 101?
Can't remember actually the main protagonist's name, but he, it's like a Big Brother. You know, it's like the Big Brother story. It's like a control sort of situation.
Dystopia.
Yeah, and he gets taken into the Ministry of Love to be corrected. And goes into room 101. That's the torture room. And the creepiest thing about the only thing I really remember about that book is the very last line, or the last concept at least, is that he loves Big Brother. He has a realization that he loves Big Brother.
It happened.
I guess that's
they finally got him.
They got him. Yeah.
They got him.
He betrays his missus as a girl he likes. He starts questioning the regime, and he wants to get away with it.
Yeah, it's sort of we're used to seeing stories where the reverse happens. Someone's either in a bad situation or they were indoctrinated into a certain way of living and then they get out of it. I've never seen someone get into it at the end. The bad thing. They got into it.
Yeah.
They're into the cult. That's interesting. But it's that and it's something that I think about. It's the level of reliance on technology. I went to the football yesterday with a good mate of ours. You know him well. And he said that his kids are at home and there's no internet. And I said, oh boy, what happens when there's no internet? Well, it means there's a lot of things. When we were kids and there was no internet,
trouble.
There was lots of things we could do if there was no internet.
Yeah. Most of the things we did were without internet.
Exactly. So the reliance on technology is somewhere where I think we have come so far in reliance that we love it now. The slavery, not the slavery. What's the word? We love the reliance, the dependence.
Yeah.
The dependence it went from something like, you kind of need one to get by, to like, if you lose it, you are fucked. Or if something happens, you know, it's crazy. So I always use the example of, the internet's gone out. I guess the fridge turns off and the garage door opens and all the alarm systems are off and the security cameras don't work and you can't go on YouTube.
You think they're all connected?
Well, they are now. And they will be more connected in the future. We didn't have that problem. If the internet went out, it just means you couldn't play online games. You could still play games, just not online games. Now, when the internet goes out, some providers are like, sorry, can't check if you own that game or not because you're not connected to the internet.
Yeah.
So you can't even play it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got into somewhere weird there all of a sudden about gaming and the effect that it has on gaming. But it's probably
when we've got Neuralink, when we're actually plugged into the network, we're gonna have internet connection. Are we not?
Issues.
Well, if we have internet connection issues, how much would you realize it then when you're actually plugged in? Can you imagine how dumb you would feel? You'd feel like I feel all the time, but like just for a moment. But that's pretty grim.
Well, hopefully they'll get it fixed promptly, and you're back to living normally within a few minutes. Because I think the downtimes would be quite discombobulating in a future world. You're sitting there, you're having breakfast, you're watching TV in your brain because you got a Neuralink in your head. You're watching the news or some shit in your brain, and all of a sudden it turns off. And we're back to reality.
Yeah, stuck with your own thoughts.
Whoa!
Oh no!
Yeah, it's good. You remember
what game
Back to the Future?
Did you
Back to the Future?
Did you go to the Eagles game?
Yeah, I did. Back to the Future 2. When people watch television, they don't say, "Can I watch Channel 7 or Channel 10 or whatever?" Marty's son walks into the room. And Google Alexas or whatever the TV to say, give me channels 19, 27, 2091. And it's a whole grid of shit. And he's watching all of them at the same time. That's the future.
That's so going to happen. That is so going to happen. That's how I work now. I get so often on the weekend, I have the Tour de France on one screen. I got the footy, on the other screen, and I'll swap between the two. As the Eagles game got worse, I just muted that and just unmuted the tour.
A couple of things about the AFL, because I did go to the game with D. Smith, Robert,
of the late great
Rubbish Radio.
Yeah, great, yeah.
And it was disappointing. A couple of observations. Number one is because a home game, they only play goal like music when the home team kicks a goal. When you only score a few goals, it's the vibe's pretty flat.
Yeah.
Because there's no excitement. No music. Observation number 2 is I had something confirmed to me, which is I was wondering, quick catch up to get people up to speed. At 3/4 time at the Eagles home games, Yowie comes out doing a bit of a V commercial and says, the third quarter's about to begin. Big things are about to happen. We need that big coast energy. So we need you, the crowd, to get behind me and the boys to give us that big coast energy. And he's doing this as well. He's doing like a full, yeah, boy.
Hot seat.
And they still do it. I was wondering if they would still do the rev up, the 3/4 time rev up, if we're getting pumped. Like if it's a close game and he goes, the final quarter's about to begin, big things are coming. Man, I'm getting excited. I am excited. When you're 60 points down and you haven't had a mark inside 50 yet, it's a tough sell to say, get excited about the boys. But it was just a really tough game because no one really did super well. No one had a standout performance in the whole team. But,
Gov and Barrass took a few intercepts. They were solid.
Barrass were doing their normal thing.
But
They're
you know
doing
what?
their normal thing.
They had so much supply into the defense. They probably didn't have that good a game. It just makes them look good because the ball came in 1,000 times.
The ball came in a million times. Yeah,
they were good. Like without them, they lose by 100. They lose by 100.
They were good. But if you're a defender in the AFL, all you have to do is take a contested mark like a couple of times a game, and you're regarded as one of the best defenders in the comp. Because that
have goals kicked on you.
No, but people I'm an Eagles fan. I get really excited when I see Barrass or Gov under the ball, and it's coming in. And you just think, they've got this. There's 4 people going for this marking contest, and one of these blokes has got it. And it was happening so often. In fact, what was fun is when McGovern got a free kick and then 50, I think. And so he had a shot at goal, right? It's that weird scenario where you're like, what's his goal song? Don't know, because he barely kicks any snags.
So do the Eagles do that as well? I haven't been to a home game in a while. Do they all pick a song? Because I know they do that in Brisbane.
The whole league does it. Brisbane's are pretty atrocious, if you ask me. Brisbane's
got that Britney song. That young blonde guy has a Britney song.
Yeah, but Brisbane's entire list, I don't know if they're trolling. Because if they're trolling, I'm fine with it. If it's all about crowd participation, I'm fine with it. Anyway, Gov's got the ball. He's in the 50 now. He can have a kick and goal, right? Now, I don't know about you, but I rarely see a defender, when given the opportunity to kick a goal, miss. Because in their mind, they've got to kick to dudes on the lead 55 meters away running in the opposite direction. They've got to hit those targets often. And so you always, and it's a bit of a cliche, but you say, it's a bit of a football audience member comment too, but it's a bit of he's just going to kick it straight to the bloke in the first row. And that's what they do. They just kick it to the bloke in the first row and that's a goal. And I was thinking to myself, you got Gov, you got Barrass, two of the best contested markers in the comp. Why isn't Gov up forward? Why hasn't
they
Gov...
can catch the ball? They can kick a goal.
They can kick goals. They catch the ball all the time. That's their thing. They take contested marks and they're accurate kicks. I don't know.
Well, Barrass on the lead would be a pretty funny sight, I reckon. He's a bit of a slowpoke.
But he knows all the tricks. He knows what the defenders are going to do because he's been there and done it for his whole career. I'm not saying Barrass should do it. I'm saying Gov. I'm getting a bit sad watching Gov go down hard every game because he's always in the thick of it, throwing his body into it. I don't know how many years he's got left playing the game, but the way he plays it is
he's a meat pie.
Intense.
He's got a lot of protection though. No, but with throwing defenders forward, what I loved about 2006 or that era when the Eagles won a premiership is when they Worst forward used to throw hunter forwards when they were struggling. So if they needed a quick goal or two in 5 minutes left, you need 2 goals, and they try and shuffle up the board, cause some uncertainty amongst the defence, and they threw hunter forwards, who was their centre-half back. And he had some good success. What I love about the 2006 grand final, that was like Woosh's one move, right? So it's like, when is he going to switch hunter forwards?
Right. And did it happen?
They kicked the first 2 goals, or maybe at least the first goal, and Woosha pulled the move straight off in the first quarter, 5 minutes in.
Keep pummeling, right.
Yeah, I like it.
But that was a close game.
Yeah,
so maybe he did pull the trigger a bit early.
Maybe he did, but it was aggressive. The mindset was aggressive. It's like, normally we do this when we need a goal. We're just gonna.
Well, we need goals. It's the grand final.
No,
we're never in a point where we're like, do we need any more goals, or have we kicked enough? One more? Yeah, get a couple more. Have a couple more goals. I hate it when commentators say that. In the Freo Dockers game, the Freo Dockers was it v Sydney? Who did they beat?
Yeah, Sydney.
Okay.
Man.
So when it was, there were 7 points in it, and Sydney had a shot at goal. They were like, they would really want to kick a goal here. Yeah, I know. We know.
Stating
it was the other way around. I think it was when the Dockers were kicking. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, it's like our show, saying shit like that.
One of the my wife was saying there was an interview with one of the AFL players, don't know who, and they said, if you could tell the fans any one thing, what do you want to tell them? And this bloke says, we're not trying to miss. We want to kick the goal as well. Don't get so upset, because people act like they're just taking the piss. When they miss a goal, they're like, what the fuck are you doing, you nincompoop?
No, look. I've
and
seen
the guy's
this behavior.
Man, I want to kick the goal. You want me to kick the goal? I want to kick the goal. We all want me to kick the goal. We're all on the same page.
Yeah. No, there's a bloke that sits behind where the seats are at the football, and he's always arcing up about our own players, right? That's his jam, and him and our mutual friend actually started conversing a bit. Which I was a bit scared of happening, because our friend is also he's quite critical. Because he watches enough
opinionated.
footy.
He's opinionated.
And he watches enough
opinion.
footy.
Yeah.
He watches enough footy. So, and he knows the Eagles. He loves the Eagles.
And so he was having a go. He was disagreeing with this fellow, was he?
Yeah, these guys were being total Star Wars nerds about the Eagles. And what I mean by that is there's no bigger critic of Star Wars than Star Wars nerds. And it's the same with the Eagles. They're the biggest critics. They are the biggest fans, but they are the biggest critics because they're sitting there going, I want to win the game. That's what we're all thinking. We want to win the game. But like when our friend or the guy behind him say something like, "What's he doing down there?" I'm like, probably what the coach told him implicitly to do. We don't know what the coach told him to do. But anyway, it was really fun, even though we got pumped. It was heaps of fun.
Yeah, and Duggan, I reckon, is a turnover machine. I know people like him. I used to like him. I feel like there is future. I felt like there was future in him.
He's leading ball getter though, right? He's still getting the ball.
Yeah, and that's probably why we lost by 10 goals. I want to see his effective disposals. I just feel like I'm got confirmation bias going on, but every time he gets the ball, one time he gets the ball, he kicks it, intercepted, but gets spoiled back to him. He gets the ball back again, just clean, then a clean interception. I'm like, man, like, what?
Oh, yeah,
he shouldn't be kicking the ball. He shouldn't be kicking it.
He does 1-2s with the opponent. Like sometimes they'll kick it straight back to him, and it's a bit of payback. Like, thanks, thank you. It's nice.
And about that, you said the defenders, you feel like they're hitting players on leads and they got great kicks. The thing about that is, again, I guess it's confirmation bias, is when they kick the ball in a general direction of a person, that person can move to collect the ball. The goals can't move. So you don't really know whether it's a good kick or not.
Sure.
Because if there's
I'll pay that.
Because they just run to the ball. As long as you give it enough air underneath, they just run and collect it. And if they're in a paddock, then they'll make it look like a perfect kick every time.
I agree. But sometimes you see someone like Gov kick the ball out of defence, not out of a kick in. I'm talking more like from the defensive 50 maybe. And you just know he saw that guy, he lined him up, and he's hit him straight on the face from 50 meters away. It's pretty impressive still.
But it's also hard to tell because they'll change their stride and their speed. So if they're leading out onto the wing,
that's the other thing.
They go, oh, they read the ball and they go, oh, I just have to slow down a bit here because the ball's not far enough out in front.
Of the many criticisms that our friend and the guy behind us had was that no one was moving. So when St Kilda were marking the ball, they'd have a guy fly through and he'd hands off to him and then bang, he breaks through the middle.
Overlap run.
Overlaps. There was heaps of that. We seem to take marks and just sort of like look for a free man instead of wanting to move the ball forward. We want to keep the ball. We like the ball. I mean, I get it.
We just want to possess it.
We hate it. We want possession.
It's just
we're a bit possessive about the ball. We just want to have it. And if,
I was on a wine tour on the weekend. I did see the end of the Fremantle Sydney game. Came down to one.
Huge finish. I had to watch it again. Well, no, I didn't see it live. I only watched it about an hour ago, the final few minutes.
And some guy on this wine tour was telling me about the original Eagles song.
Okay.
So they started, I don't know, they started in 89, 88, around there, late 80s. And he was telling me, I had to look it up because I was like, I didn't know this. So the original Eagles song, same tune they have.
Yeah, got it.
But,
so these are the lyrics.
These are the lyrics.
Yeah.
For years they took the best of us and claimed them for their own. But now we've got them back again. Our Eagles have come home. We're the Eagles. West Coast Eagles, etc., etc. We're flying.
And we're here to show you why and all that.
And we're here to show you all that. We're the big birds, kings of the big game. We're the Eagles. We're flying high.
Yeah.
For years we learned the lessons, for we learned them very well. And now we've added West Coast magic, and we'll give you very hell.
Okay, so now I see why the Ian Kenny version has a bit of a reference to it's West Coast magic and it's just beginning, which is in the new theme.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's a bit of a throwback to the OG.
It is?
Didn't know that, yeah.
Oh, interesting. And then you do the chorus again. So watch out all you know-it-alls, all you wise men from the east.
It's pretty angry. It's pretty angry.
It's very, all you wise men from the east, because you'll get more than just a footy game.
Yeah.
You'll get a West Coast Eagles feast.
Jeepers in my deepers. Now, when was that written? Was that the OG song?
Yeah.
So, we were right.
Really
they were right.
Sticking it up the Victorians.
For sure. So
I don't think they had it for too long. Yeah, they had a gutful. Yeah. So I don't know how many West Australians actually came back and played for the Eagles when they started.
A lot.
I assume a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Coming home to play. Like how good is it if you've had a couple of years in the VFL, your families, or a lot of friends and family back in Perth.
Crazy.
Eagles start up, you'd be like, man, trade me.
Yeah, and who was the first coach of the Eagles?
No idea.
I imagine it was quite attractive to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Coming out west.
I just never heard that. Heard that. Yeah, bit of West Coast magic. Yeah, so I was on this wine tour. It was one of my wife's work friends' 25th. I haven't been on a 25th birthday in a while.
Well,
haven't
you shouldn't.
been on a
You
party
shouldn't
bus
have.
in a
Yeah.
while.
No, well, nor should you have been on that. No.
Man, they got energy. Like from the get-go, there's just a whole bunch of basically stripper poles down the middle of the bus. It's sort of got seats that face inwards. And, they're dancing all over the place. It's 11:15 in the morning.
It's 11:15. No, but they're excited. They're there for their friend's birthday, presumably. Yeah. It's an exciting time. And what a time to be alive. And why not indulge in
I was
whatever the
dancing.
hell.
By the end, you've had a few drinks.
Yeah. Well, you're an old man.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went home. They continued on. We finished around 6 p.m. We went out. So we came back into the city. We go to the first place that they're having a drink.
Yeah.
I had a soda lemon, soda lime, no vodka or anything.
Lovely.
I was just trying to wrap it up a bit. And I had plenty of drinks during the day.
Yeah, you had a good time.
A good time, yeah. And both of us had me and the wife had a soda lime, and then went home to watch the tour. Day one of the tour.
Yeah, well,
in bed by 9:30. I was fucking sick.
Oh, it's so funny.
Meanwhile, they don't even know what happened. Like apparently in the chat, they're all just like, I don't know what time they finished up. Don't know what happened. Like, they had nails 1 minute. They don't have any nails anymore.
It's frightening stuff.
Yeah.
It's frightening stuff.
I remember those days.
Oh, no, you don't.
I don't. But I know, I remember not. I remember waking up with the shame, when you have that moment where you're just going, you're like, what did I do?
Well, there's no shame associated with something you don't remember, but I guess there's uncertainty. Yes.
Potential shame.
So much potential. Much potential. There's a video somewhere of me on YouTube of me doing a crab walk down the escalators at Forest Chase and asking the person before I performed this feat if they're recording or not. And they said yes. And I said, great. Well, I'm about to do a crab walk then. Watch
How'd you find it?
What do you mean? The video? Watching the video?
Yeah.
Traumatizing. This is those moments that we're talking about. Digitally. No.
Did you know the person?
No. I was, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's someone we used to party with a lot. He used to film.
I thought it was a random filming. I was like, how'd you find the video?
Yeah. He used to film a lot of gigs and nights out and stuff, and we all went to the same shows and gigs. And I think I was on a rabbit hole looking for all the old music from my early 20s, like on the Perth scene. I was all the bands I used to go see. Namely, like mostly our friend's band and affiliated acts. So on that rabbit hole, I found this footage, which is something, it would have been titled something like After a Night Out or something. And I'm like, oh my God, that's my face. But it's not my face. It's the one that I used to have about 15 years ago. That face.
Yeah, that face.
It's a different one.
Yeah, but you recognized it.
Oh, it's someone.
You always know your own face, don't you? Yeah. It's not like you ever see an old photo of yourself and you're like, maybe when you're 3 or something, maybe.
No, I still think it would happen. But I saw it, watched it, traumatizing.
Oh, no. I'm so glad that the quality of a lot of the videos is very pixelated when I was a teen.
Doesn't matter. There's enough in there for me to find it quite upsetting. But that's just one example of something that I probably would have remembered even. That's something I wasn't that toasted that I wouldn't have been able to remember what I did. I would have been quite proud of it at the time. I would have thought it was pretty darn cool.
Yeah, toasted.
I would have thought I was being pretty damn cool.
Nicely toasted. Yeah, and you were, to be honest. You were.
Oh, I was?
Yeah, believe in yourself, man.
I don't feel particularly cool looking at that.
Well, at least it will. Do you reckon it will age as bad as Biden's disastrous debate?
Yeah, that was horrible.
That was a bit of a shocker.
But not just Biden. Like Trump didn't.
Oh no, they were both terrible. They were terrible.
It was really bad. Okay, so one thing straight off the bat, there was no crowd there. It was performed in front of two people, the debate moderators, and that was it in the room. Now,
I didn't know that.
Given that the role of the crowd is to only applaud when the candidates come out at the beginning, that's what they're instructed to do by the guy who's doing the thing. What are they called? The moderator.
Right.
The moderator lays out the rules and says, please don't clap at any time during the debate. Don't jeer, don't cheer, don't do any of that. You're only allowed to make noise right now because we're bringing the candidates out. Here are the candidates for President of the United States. And then they bring them out and they're meant to applaud there and then they're meant to shut up for the next hour and a half, right? But that doesn't happen because people are humans. They have feelings. They have almost sometimes involuntary things like laughter. So it cannot be policed. It does not get policed, and I get excited about it. It's fun to hear the crowd participation. It's much like going to an AFL game. You'd rather 50,000 people there than 10.
Yeah,
it's
some
just way
human
better.
Emotion.
It's just way better.
Yeah.
Okay, so but I also make the point that I think it's worse for democracy. Having people cheering and jeering and booing and all that stuff. I think we don't need it. We need a debate on policy between two people who have opposing viewpoints. We want to see what the other person. Yeah, let's hear them talk.
Let's have some dialogue. Don't drown them out with some booze.
Well, no, but like,
can you imagine if you're trying to talk and I'm just booing you all the time?
Well, it doesn't happen in any other job. It doesn't happen in any other job, except for like an AFL player. They get booed at their job. That's the only job you get booed at. Okay. But the point is that their participation is not the debate. Their participation is not important, the audience participation. It's fun. I like it. I enjoy it. I wish it had an audience, but I think it's worse for democracy. So I'm happy with having no audience at the expense of me not having a bit of fun. Okay, I'm happy with that. Fine with that. I want to hear people talk about policy and solutions. I want to hear people talk about the future, not the past. I want, like, as in,
definitely. Oh my God.
And we got to the point where Donald Trump starts criticizing Joe Biden because he has a shit golf game. Like his golf game's not up to par. Pardon the pun, right? And Biden's response was, I got my handicap to a -6 while I was vice president. I'm like, don't tell me that.
That's all
don't tell me that your best achievement during vice presidency was getting a decent golf handicap. Is -6 good? I don't know.
I don't know if it was -6. I think it was just 6.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. So it's like 6. So your handicap 6.
What does that mean? Does that mean if you get 6 over par, then they count it as a par?
Yes, that's right.
For the course.
If you play against someone with a 0 handicap, and you both play a game of golf and you get a 78 and they get a 72, you draw. Or you're saying. Yeah.
5 shots down, you'd win.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I didn't know that. That makes a lot of sense though. So I didn't like that about the debate where it got into bullshit stuff like golf. Like, we're not here to talk about golf, mate. Literally the last thing that the American people want to hear about is golf.
Yeah, he was – I agree Trump wasn't great, but I only saw a couple of highlights and they were mostly of Biden sort of stumbling over his words, much like I do. But I mean, I'm not the president of the United States, I mean, I'm also not 80, so I don't have that excuse. But
as of yesterday, and that would have been like Sunday, I believe he was at Camp David having a discussion about whether or not he should still be in the race. Now, that's just what the news was saying, that he's meeting with advisors to talk about that. No, but I don't know if we can say for sure whether or not he's actually considering pulling out. I don't think it would be the worst idea. I don't think he should.
And so will Newsom is who comes in?
I don't know. I think anyone's good against anyone has a really good shot against Trump if they're holding the Democratic ticket because
Trump.
Democrats hate Trump.
I don't even think this.
It doesn't matter who is running.
Yeah, this debate apparently is not going to change voters' minds, and I can see why. Like those who are going to vote Trump, they're polarizing.
But both of them are polarizing to the other.
Apparently, Hillary has shortened a lot on the Democratic.
I thought you were talking about her stature. I thought she got shorter or something. I was like, whoa, okay.
She probably is shorter as you age.
Yeah.
But one of my mates has put 3 bets down on her to be the nomination and the president.
No way.
Long time ago at over 1,001. Now she's paying 26-1 to be the nomination.
Wow.
He'll win $8,000 if
26-1 though ain't great.
No, it's not. But the fact I didn't realize she was in
But
the conversation. I didn't think you could put a bet down.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought so. I don't think that's a good idea. Just
putting
that out there. I think that's a terrible idea. That's a bad idea.
They're all bad ideas.
I think she's got a good shot as winning. I think she's got as good a shot as winning as she did the first time. But she didn't win the first time. It's crazy.
Did you see
How did
Trump
she not win the first time?
called Biden a Palestinian?
That's a bit crazy.
And not a very bad Palestinian.
That's an upping from the birther sort of conspiracy stuff that Trump's usually into.
Yeah, but not just a Palestinian, as if that's supposed to be some kind of like...
And derogatory?
Derogatory. Yeah, I don't know. A very bad Palestinian, just to make sure.
Oh, okay.
And a weak one.
A weak Palestinian?
A weak, very bad Palestinian. That's Biden.
That's not very nice, is it?
No.
But to anybody. He's not being nice to anyone there. He's managed to say one thing, trying to achieve just to say one negative thing. He's ended up saying 5 negative things, plus just a negative thing about humanity in the way that is sort of brought up. Look, they're both very old men who shouldn't be doing the top job.
No. I mean, when you're going for president, though, you need to be put on the coals and scrutinized. That's the other thing. I feel bad for him. One part of me goes, man, this guy's a lovely guy. He's the president of the United States of America. For God's sakes, leave the man alone. Let him be old.
Yeah.
Let him be slow. Let him have dementia in peace. Show the man some fucking respect.
What, by not making him run for president?
Well, respect your elders. Like, he's the oldest guy in the room.
Yeah. But do you know what he always claps back with when people talk about his age?
No.
He goes, I was the youngest congressman in history. It's like, yeah, you've been doing this too long, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's all that
doesn't
means,
help.
dude.
That's sort of making my point.
It's really hard, man. It's really hard. I used to think in an idealistic way. I know. I'll tune in and watch it. I used to think idealistically that anyone who's over the age where they pretty much won't see the future shouldn't have a say in
making decisions. Yeah,
making decisions that affect that future. Meaning, if you're a guy who believes that planting a tree that'll provide shade that you will never get to enjoy, but you're happy that other people will, and you're running the world. Cool. But that's not everybody. That's not everybody.
Yeah. If Trump pulls the trigger, he's not living in the nuclear winter for very long.
Not to mention that there's pretty decent bomb shelters from nuclear explosions and stuff that are readily available to people like the president. So
we're the ones going to be left with the fallout.
He goes all right.
He goes into some palatial bomb shelter shack.
And the first day down there in the palatial bomb shelter, they go, guess what? We just discovered the elixir of life. You can live forever. Let's live forever. Yeah. So no, you were wrong about that. He is going to survive the nuclear winter and beyond, and in fact be sort of part of some sort of futuristic space confederation, bringing together all the aliens across the across the vast galaxy of the Milky Way, and uniting them under one banner. And he's going to make the Milky Way great again. The Milky Way's a joke.
He'll make it green as well. It's not green enough at the moment. Do you see also LeBron's child has been drafted?
Yeah, draft 50
by
something.
the Lakers. Yeah, 55.
Pick 55, yeah.
So he was the third last in the draft to get picked up, which surprised me because I thought there was more players in the draft than that. Like, I mean, the AFL draft is bigger than that.
Is that round 1, round 2, round 3? How does that work?
Maybe I think it's third round.
Oh, third round, 55th pick.
Yeah. Yeah, and so there was only 3 picks left in the draft.
So the question is, right, who else did the Lakers pick up, right?
Yeah.
Who have they got playing in that position? I think he's a shooting guard. And does he get a Guernsey? Does he actually get to play?
He won't be in the starting 5. He'll be coming off the bench.
But okay, they've been talking about this for 10 years, I reckon, about one of LeBron James is our best shot to see a father and son play on the same team. He's our best shot, right? Now, they've been talking that up for years, right? And I got pretty excited about it. I think it's pretty cool. I think that's a pretty cool thing to do.
So
I mean, I played indoor beach volleyball with my old man. That was fun, definitely fun, but we weren't doing it professionally. So this is a big deal. But in your first season,
he'll get minutes.
I thought they had like a main team and a bench team, and they sort of swap the teams. You know, you swap your bench in, like the whole bench. It's a bit of an all-in situation. Are they ever going to? Is he going to pass the ball to him? Are we going to see any highlights?
Yeah, there'll be an alley-oop. Yeah, there'll be. This is the first father-son duo in NBA history.
It's pretty wild.
It's pretty cool. And what's going to happen? So in the team, basically, you have got 5 starters. This is just a rule of thumb. 5 starters, 3 bench players that actually get minutes in a game. And then you got 5 scrubs that you bring on when you're getting absolutely towed and you don't want to injure any of your starting 5 or either of your 3 bench players that actually get minutes. So I'm going to say Bronny James, is going to start. He's in the scrubs, right? Because I don't even think he would have necessarily been drafted if he wasn't LeBron's son. Some teams were thinking about picking up Bronny in the draft just to try and make LeBron come to their team. So they were going to pick him up and be like, "Man, we've got your son. Hold him hostage.
2 for 1. Yeah,
you want to play with your son? You have to come to our team.
Do it here. Yeah, right on." With that though, I mean, if LeBron's coming to the end of his career, right? Is that fair to say?
100%. All right, but he is near the end of his career, but he's playing at such a high level.
Yeah,
I'm going to say,
okay, so he can do more years.
2 years.
He's got 2 years.
Yeah, which is crazy. I think a lot of people would say 1 year, but they've been saying 1 year for quite a long time. I'm going to get out there and say 2 years.
Keep extending it out. Okay. And you said he's still playing very high level basketball.
He's one of the top
job.
10 players in the NBA.
Top 10 players. That's amazing. If he wasn't, you know, if he was a sort of aging star, meaning he's not what he was in his heyday, he's sort of a bit washed. And then you got Bronny coming in, who may not be the best shooting guard on the team. You sort of shot yourself in the foot with 2 shotguns. You've got a player whose best work's behind him, kind of about to could retire any day and no one would be surprised. You know what I mean? He could retire overnight and no one would be like, "Oh my God, that's a shock," because he's played the game for so long. And then you got the shooting guard who's the hype's not real or whatever the situation is. And you're like, "Oh my God, we put all our eggs into one basketball."
But what you're forgetting is the family values, the magic of family. That's what you're forgetting.
I'm forgetting the magic
about the magic of family. Yeah, you're forgetting again.
I forgot about the magic of family?
Yeah, things can happen in the family sphere.
What the hell is this gobbly nonsense?
It's like the fairy shit happens. So what might happen?
No, you didn't just quote "shit happens."
Yeah, fairy shit, not just shit.
Magic.
Yeah, like sprinkles and stuff. So who knows? Because if you threaten Bronny's life,
it's a good opening position.
If you threaten Bronny's life,
why would I do that?
In like to lose a game. So say you don't make LeBron angry. So now you bring in a family member into the mix. Now he wants to like win for his son, impress his son. If you fuck with his son, he fucks you. That kind of thing.
On the court.
On the court.
Okay, so I take your point. It would be, and at the same time, the flip side of that is it's a lot of pressure. You know, your dad is literally watching you take this 3. He's watching you. He has to watch you. It's also his job.
Yeah, but the family.
I know. I think it can work positively. I think it could work negatively in the sense that maybe too much pressure, whatever. But NBA, it doesn't get much more pressure than NBA just in general. I think added pressure of having your dad there. Sure, it's
and he could rise to the
it's
occasion.
a few percent. Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's like that book I was telling you about last week, that shithouse book that I wrote when I was in year 8, and it's all about like getting the approval of your dad. I've got great approval of my dad, but this is just something that you happen that
I think it's something that Hollywood would train us to crave it.
Exactly.
As well.
I think I'd read too many books.
Of the Home Alone movies.
All the Home Alone, all that stuff. I think I was trying to write a book, and I was like, "Is this what you're supposed to write?" So I've just looked up top 100 NBA player rankings. Looks like a pretty swish website, updated 20 June. 2 weeks ago. LeBron is number 12.
So just, skirting the top 10 like you said. You said he was top 10, but that's pretty much top 10.
Pretty much.
He's made a decision between two people there that you could easily throw out of that and put LeBron above them.
Oh, Devin Booker's 13. Devin Booker's terrible. They've got a summary, a one-line summary about who he is. A king adapting to a new world order and changing the way he dominates.
That's LeBron.
Yeah, and they've got these 4 little icons about what his sort of, I don't know,
strengths
metrics are. Potential GOAT.
That's the metric. Yep, love those.
He's also a floor general.
Oh, floor
He's
general.
got a little badge next to him.
This is NBA 2K shit. Is this NBA 2K? Are you reading his 2K stats?
No, it's not. No,
this is his real life things. Okay, has he got any other descriptive words?
Feel for the game.
Oh, yeah, you can't teach that.
And position versatility.
Oh, yeah, you can't teach that either.
I'll tell you. So number one is Nikola Jokic.
Okay, and what's his Jokic? Yeah, what's his little descriptive words? Wait, let me guess.
Okay.
Dangerous.
No.
No, I'm out.
A passing virtuoso.
Yeah, I've seen that in NBA 2K. These are all 2K things, man. These are hilarious. Yeah, go on.
Horse guy.
Don't know what that means.
I don't know
what does that mean?
I can't click on it or anything. Human
Anyone
highlight.
tell us what horse guy is? What the hell is that? Human highlight. Couldn't that be like a lot of people?
There's also a little picture. It looks like the icon looks like a reel of, so it's a highlight reel. Yeah, it just does. That's good shit. And then float game. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. That's floaters. That's floaters.
Oh, okay.
Shooting floaters. So he's good at shooting floaters. But they get creative with this stuff. I like it.
Oh, Luka Doncic has the clutch gene.
Oh, okay. You see, it's good. It's summarizing in a way that you can understand. If there's fuck all left on the clock and you need 3 points to win, he's a good guy to throw the ball to, which means that the whole team should pretty much smash him up.
And Antetokounmpo, number 3, he's got dad jokes as a stat.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does.
Dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
That's a strength.
It's just one of his 4 traits.
I don't know what that means. Does that mean that he like dads the opponents, like makes it look like they're playing against kids? I don't know what that means.
Joel Embiid has injury concerns as one of his 4.
Oh my God.
Man, I wonder what I would have if I had 4 stats. I'd have ridiculous upside.
What's that mean? What is that? Is that the name of it? Ridiculous upside?
Well, Ant-Man has that. Anthony Edwards has. And I think I should
What would
have
yours
that.
be?
Yeah, ridiculous upside.
No, I could do yours easily.
Couch potato.
I'd have a better chance at doing yours.
Okay, I'll do you after you do mine.
All right, I'm gonna go workhorse. I'm gonna say driven. And I'm going to say just to make one creative one, we'll go Flight of the Eagle will be the final one. And you can be like, what does that mean? And I'll be like, I don't know. But I think what it means is that, I'm going to make something up. Soaring to heights and efficiency in movement. That's what eagles do. So,
well, it makes more sense than some of the ones we've read about.
Already discussed. Yeah.
I'm looking at you. I'm trying to come to some reasonable conclusions here. I did say one that I can't go past. Look, couch potato.
Couch potato. I don't really sit on the couch much, but I take your point. It's more about a vibe than it is. Yeah. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I would have said video game virtuoso. That would have been my first one. I wouldn't have said couch potato because that means I'm just sitting there doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing.
I won't say verbal diarrhea. That's more something that's probably a bit more of my, down my own alley.
No, that's a good one.
And I want something to do with your moustache. I didn't really know where to go with it. Just sort of like a mouth caterpillar, or what do you call it? Just a lip caterpillar.
Someone said to me today, they said, "Hey, you've got something stuck in your beard." I could have cried. I hugged him. I said, "Thank you. You don't know what this. Beard? You don't know what this means to me."
Is it the acknowledgement? Is it? What is it?
Yeah, he said. Well, I've never been described as the guy with the beard because my beard is not beardy enough to be described as the bearded guy.
I've got your stat, your beardy McBeard face. There
Thank
you go.
you. This is what I've been waiting for.
Thought you'd like that.
Yeah. So he said, "Oh, you've got something stuck in your beard," and I just wanted to kiss him. It was such a nice feeling. I think it's similar to when Tunge got called the man for the first time when he was, 16, working at a laser tag joint, and they would have said, "Tell your man what pizza you want. Tell the man." And he's like, "I'm a man. Yesterday I was a little boy, but now I am a man." He was a bit of that.
Oh, he would have loved that.
Yeah. So I think it was similar to that. Got a bit of a, and he'll never know because I didn't really hug him. He'll never know what it meant to me unless I tell him.
It's funny
tomorrow.
What gives you a pep up sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes you just need to say something nice about someone and you just don't know how it affects them.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I said verbal diarrhea now.
Yeah, I contemplated... Thanks, man. I contemplated doing this at the football. Now,
doing what?
I'm going to do it now.
Saying some nice things.
No. I'm going to say some words.
Oh.
And much like how we were trying to trigger the memories of being brought up into a Christian environment, I'm going to try and bring up some memories here with what I'm going to say to you now. I'm not going to do the song, but it's a song.
All right.
I'm going to give you the lyrics.
Yeah.
Stop me if you know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Gotta brush my teeth, rest my weary head. No, gotta get to bed, rest my weary head. Gotta brush the teeth, then there's prayers to be said. Put away the toys in the old toy box. Bring out the cat. Snap on the locks. Am I doing it? Is nothing happening yet?
No, it's all happening, but I still don't know where to go with it. It's all happening.
What about, oh no, the sun's going down in 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Is
6,
it the fat cat
7,
thing?
8, 9. So a friend of mine played that in my ears the other day.
It is really sleepy.
It is a fat cat thing, but it's not Fat Cat. It's Channel 10's version of it.
Oh.
Fat Cat's Channel 7.
You can't
Channel
fat
10.
Shame like that, can you? Is that
well,
on?
They don't. I think they just call him Cat now.
Is he fat?
So
though?
Channel 10 had, he's still massive, completely obese, overweight. So Channel 10 had Kenny the echidna, and Kenny was at his mate's house watching telly, and they said, "Oh no, little Lenny, it's time for little kidnas to go to sleep. Gotta go." And then it was like, goodbye, Mr. Kangaroo. Goodbye, Emu Man. And then it's good night, brother. It's that one. And the bit that is just before the oh no is he goes, and good night to you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, the sun's going down in 10 seconds. So we were at the football and I contemplated just starting to do that at such a high, at a high enough volume that I could break at least 10 brains around me.
Do you reckon anyone would join in?
Anyone who's between the age of 29 or 31 to 42 knows the shit out of that song. It's right away. It's locked in the long-term memory shit. So even if I just had a casual conversation with the person next to me, I was like, yeah, I've got to get to bed, rest my weary head. I've got to brush my teeth and there's prayers to be said. I've got to put away the toys in the old toy box. Got to bring out the cat and snap on the locks. The sun's going down in 10 seconds. there's someone around who's going to have a Merovingian candidate moment where they think they're being activated.
Candidate?
It's like I'm talking about like a sleeper spy guy
yeah,
who's heard the key word, the key words that activates their kill mode.
Yeah. But they might just go to sleep in this context.
Well, they might think, why am I so tired all of a sudden?
Yeah.
You look a bit tired now. Have I?
Yeah,
Is it done it to you? It's done it. It's actually done
my
it.
eyes. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Got a bit. Yeah. So that really fucked me up, that hearing that again, because I wouldn't have heard that.
Yeah.
There's no reason to look that up.
No. But I'm just wondering who has the drive. If I heard that, I don't know if I just start yelling the song with you. You might break a few minds. You might send a few people to sleep. Yeah.
You'd break some brains. A couple of people would nap. And there'll be a whole bunch of other people who are very confused. But they won't think anything of it. It only affects the initiated. It's a bit like your Freemasonry stuff. It's a different symbol.
It's like learned.
I'm throwing up a symbol, and there's certain people out there that are like, I understand that symbol.
Yeah. See who joined the club.
Yeah. But it was fun to get your brain broken a little bit, because those things that trigger those long-term memories are always good. They're always good fun. Except for if you're crab walking down Forest Chase. That's not as good. That's aged like milk.
I was hoping that you might be able to read through the comments from last week.
Okay.
On our video.
I can do that. There's some interesting stuff in there.
There is some interesting stuff in there. I had the intention of going through that and actually running a few of those bits to ground.
Yeah, interesting. And you've been getting into your Bible studies lately, but not as much as this bloke.
No, I haven't learned Hebrew or Greek or Latin.
Yeah, this guy went to town. And thank you for getting in touch. That was really fun. We don't know how you found it. We don't know how you found us. Happy that you're here. We'll read out the channel name. It's Alan Animus 9145. He said, and he was talking in regards to us talking about giants in the Bible, and I think we were talking about giants in other cultures as well. And he says giants here are the equivalent of Jotun or Titans, which is a link to that Greek mythology thing, which is kind of what we talked about as well. That it's interesting that both of these, creation myths, if you like, involve these very large people. Okay. I said back, this is me corresponding back, giants everywhere. Is this relevant to your interests? And he or she said, you could say it's relevant to my interests. I read Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, and am currently in the process of learning Old Norse so I can read the Eddas in their original language.
I have never read the Eddas either. I've heard of the Eddas.
So is this like interesting Norse folklore or what?
Yeah, it must be.
But how deep does it go, and how fantastical? As in, is it just the creation story in the Eddas, or is that where you're going to find Ragnar and the sons of Ragnar sort of stuff? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like it's Genesis sort of stuff.
It does sound. It'll be like a derivative, an older derivative of a similar Bible type story. But the problem I have with translations, this is, I love old books, and okay, you know what? He's actually, because he's learning Old Norse, he can read it in the original language. That's interesting, because getting I can only just read English translations. Exactly. There's so much lost in translation to the point that there's almost no point in reading it, because you're not actually getting the meaning of it, because you're getting the meaning of it through the filter of the person that's read it and their cultural.
Yeah, you want the closest thing to the source, right?
You do. That's what you do. Like, I understand, like in certain things, for example, I think heaven they were saying like in Egyptian language can mean 37 different things, or vice versa. Like the translations, just you can pick a word. So there's a word in Egyptian.
Okay, well, for example, right now, heaven can mean probably three things to you and me.
Yeah.
Heaven can mean good, just having had a good time. It was heaven. So you know what I mean? Even we have different meanings for the same words. I have also translated portions of Genesis and other Hebrew texts. So he's translating stuff as well. So that's kind of, do you think you're just rehashing a bit of old ground there? Don't you think they've had a pretty good crack at translating them? Or are you translating them because you think they've got it wrong? Or because you think there's more to find? Or do you just want to do it for yourself because you're having a good time with it, like a jigsaw puzzle? I don't know.
Maybe.
Send us the answer.
Yeah, and then also, I guess, which version of it as well. He would have a good sense of which version of Genesis he obviously.
very into it. Very into it.
Well, and also, I think also the point I made just before is I think his point later on is that there's no point in reading these translations. I've always had this I've had this thought
Yeah, I think he's
before.
going to make that point now. He says, side note, all English copies of the Bible should be burned because literally from the first word, the translations are gross distortions of what is actually in the text.
Yeah. But I don't really have any options. This is my problem. I only have what's in front of me, and I'm not prepared to learn Old Norse, Latin, Hebrew, because I'm just a fucking, I've got about 3 brain cells, and they're occupied.
But with doing the one language, the English.
Yeah, just the one language.
And I wonder what this guy's first language is, because it's interesting. He's obviously picked up a lot of languages over the years, and these are all ancient languages, as in dead languages, as in we don't speak any of these anymore, except for maybe what? You still write in Hebrew? I don't know.
I'm just guessing there's some overlap. Like, isn't it like a natural progression of one to the other? They must have some similarities.
Sort of.
I've got
There's
no idea.
a bit of similarities in Greek and Latin, sure.
Yeah.
A couple of notes of interests. The Flood Genocide is actually 2 different versions of the same story, so that if you read every other verse, even verses only or odd verses only, they make 2 complete stories. We should fucking try that.
Are you kidding? I didn't even read that. I mean, I scanned some of his
That's
comments.
really cool. That's really cool.
Wait, is that in Genesis? Like,
that's Genesis.
Does that work with the
Is that King James?
Yeah,
don't know. The Flood Genocide is actually 2 different versions of the same story. So that if you read every other verse, even verses only or odd verses only, they make 2 complete stories.
When he says the Flood Genocide, what's he talking about there?
That's when Noah was worded up that there was going to be a big flood.
Yeah, I didn't know it's called the Flood Genocide.
That's just how he's referred to it, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
He also referred to burning all copies of the English Bible earlier.
Yeah.
So he doesn't mind throwing a bit of language around when appropriate. He's calling it a genocide. You got a problem with that?
No, I want to find. So what do I have to read?
Got a better name for it? What would you call it?
Okay.
So you'd need to read odd verses only of the flood myth and even verses only of the flood myth, and apparently it's 2 different stories.
Okay, Genesis 7.
Or 2 complete stories, he said.
Hold on. Okay, I think he's talking about Genesis 7. Okay, well, I'll just read a couple of odd ones in a row, shall we?
Let's go.
And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation.
So what he basically said there is, you're a good bloke, Noah, onto the boat.
Nice. Of fowls also of the air by 7s, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth.
So what he's saying there is, when we land on the mountain, could you guys bone?
And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him.
Yeah.
And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood.
I mean, instead of saying they all went into the ark, they went, Noah went in, they went in.
This is what I mean. It just reads terribly. The Bible is just terrible to read.
Did the other person go in? Yes, I'm about to mention them. They also went in. Good.
There went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah.
Get all the men and women together, but only 2 of them, because it's crowded.
In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day where all the fountains of the great deep broken up and the windows of the heavens were opened.
I'll sum that up. No, I'll sum that up.
Yeah, please.
One day.
In the self-same day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife.
These are the people who spawned the rest of the world. Yes.
And the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark.
Yeah. Took them all in. Well, we've already mentioned that. They're all in.
And they went in unto Noah into the ark,
Good.
2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life.
Yep.
And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bore up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth.
The ark went to space.
And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered.
Yeah, it was wet.
And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beast and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every
Except
man.
for things that swam. They were cool.
Nearly done here. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark.
Wow, way to keep us in suspense, Bible. And only Noah survived. And the people who were on the ark with him. It's like a Chewbacca scenario. They've done the reveal, right? The ark's blown up or something, and they've done the reveal, and Noah's okay. And they're like, oh no, he's lost his fam bam. Next scene, nah, they're there. Still here. We're ready to repopulate the earth. They Chewbacca'd us. You don't know what I'm talking about with Chewbacca.
No, look, to be honest.
You watched The Force Awakens recently. When there's a scene where, oh no, you haven't. Hey, have you not seen Rise of Skywalker?
I have. Okay.
So they take Chewbacca hostage.
You saw it. Yeah.
They put him on a prison ship.
Yes.
And then that prison ship explodes.
Yes.
And then you think he's dead.
Of course.
And then the next scene, he's there.
They
didn't even give it 2 seconds.
It made me so angry. Can we not live without a character dying in this Disney world of ours?
It's a really funny sticking point for old Qui-Gon Jinn, because literally about, a few seconds after he got stabbed in the stomach, people stopped dying from lightsaber wounds after that.
Why is that?
Well, everyone was getting clipped with everyone since then, since Qui-Gon, has been getting clipped with lightsabers, stabbed and whatever else, and surviving.
Yeah.
Surviving. He was the last Jedi.
But he got like a direct hit. Does that matter?
No.
I don't know how these things work.
No. You chuck him in a Bacta tank. It's a little healing thing. You chuck them in. And they're fine. They're fine after that.
I thought there was a rule that if you hit the body of a Jedi, they sort of become,
the Force?
The Force.
Well, that's not true, because Yoda went to sleep and became the Force. So you don't need to die in battle to become.
No, not in battle. But then if you hit a limb, then you sort of lose the limb. But if you get like a mortal blow,
no, you don't become the Force. Only certain people become the Force. So if we want to geek out for a little bit, the reason why Obi-Wan turned into nothingness when Anakin swiped him in A New Hope and then stepped on his, just to really rub it in, just teabagged his cloak, right? Just to rub it in. The reason that happened was a plot hole that got filled by, other Star Wars media that has been released since. And the reason is because when Obi-Wan was younger, as in when he was Ewan McGregor's age, he was talking through the Force to Qui-Gon, who had worked out. He must have worked out when he got stabbed, how to talk to the living or some shit. He must have just worked it out. Right. He figured it out. So he was chatting to Obi-Wan. So he's like, yo, when you die, don't be a chump like me and get stabbed in the stomach. Do the little Force thing where you become the Force at the end. That's brilliant. It's way better than getting stabbed. Promise. So he did it. He did that. Why are we talking about Obi-Wan?
That makes sense.
Oh, Rise of Skywalker. No, what were we talking about? What were we talking about?
I don't know, because I had a quick glance at the even chapters in chapter 7, and it sort of reads pretty similar. It's similar themes. It doesn't seem to read as a completely different story.
But if it was just repeating stuff a lot, because a lot of what you were saying seemed like it was repeating itself.
Oh no, the Bible just repeats itself the whole way.
But what if that is because you're looking at 2 translations on top of each other, and then we're translating that? Meaning we're translating translation upon translation.
Yeah. Okay.
So imagine if you went through the book, right? If you went through the book and started correcting stuff and going, no, that's a they are, not a there, that's a there, right? And you started putting your own scribble notes in, and then 500 years pass, someone picks up your Bible and goes, translate this, and they translate your shit in there as well because they thought that's how it worked. Then you get a doubling over sometimes. You might get the same shit said twice in a row. I don't know.
I wouldn't mind that guy just telling me how I can actually get those two, what he means by that as well.
Yeah,
that would just solve. If I could just read them
stories?
side by side, that would be cool. That would be
and
cool.
we trust him. I'd love to just hear his summary of those stories, because that would be interesting.
So what else did he say? Because I was like fascinated by a couple. Yeah.
I was going to say something about Star Wars, but one thing about Star Wars is that when Obi-Wan cut Darth Maul in half, and he fell down the pit in the first episode 1, Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
He cuts him in. Qui-Gon gets stabbed in the stomach. Goes, better become the Force real quick. And then Obi-Wan's like, no, and then gets into the worst position ever. But being that he's down below and has to go flip over Darth Maul's head to get a good shot on him, gets his master's lightsaber and gives him a big swipey to the torso. That guy split in half, fell down a hole, and survived. And went on to do lots and lots of shit.
Lots of things.
So literally the guy after you, like Qui-Gon got stabbed, little stabby in the stomach with a lightsaber. This guy got cut in half, totally fine. Anakin got pretty much everything cut off. Yeah. Anyway, it's just funny. It's just funny. Anyway, let's continue on with this. So he says about the two complete stories. Something else to keep in mind is that the Jews are Canaanites, so from the land of Canaan. Which is one of the Noah descendants,
familiar.
Right?
Yeah.
So also when you read the word
I don't know
heaven,
why we're bearing
this
that
is
in
the
mind.
heaven thing again.
Oh, okay.
Also, when you read the word heaven in the Bible, you should actually conceptualize either sky. He says sky ocean as one thing, or outer space.
Sky, ocean, or outer space.
Yeah, so ooh, baby, do you know what it's worth? Ooh, heaven is either sky, ocean, or outer space. Of interest here is that if you read Psalm 74, you get to see reference to the battle where Yahweh says Tiamat/Rahab before creating the universe out of its corpse. So what he's saying there is that I guess he was there's some sort of creator god going on, which is something I've thought about recently. Elohim in Genesis 1 is often translated singular. However, it should be plural as it refers to El and his wife Asherah, or Yahweh and his wife Asherah. I tend to think it's the first rather than the second, because Yahweh inherits Israel according to Deuteronomy. D-E-U-T, that'd be Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy. Yeah. But back to outer space, people are confused because Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 contradict each other. Genesis 1 takes place on top of the Rakia, which is a dome. I'm guessing the dome covering the earth. Eden is in outer space. That's news to me. I thought it was a garden. I thought it was somewhere on earth somewhere. What makes knowing this interesting is that the story of the invasion of outer space, Tower of Babel, is the story of man building a tower to the top of the dome so that they can climb through one of the windows in order to invade the realm of the gods where the tree of life is.
That sounds pretty wild.
It's pretty fun, isn't it?
That sounds like a sick movie.
Do you think the Tower of Babel could have been a rocket ship?
Sci-fi movie.
A rocket ship? You know how Tower of Babel, it was this thing that stretched to the heavens? The idea was it was a tower that was stretched to the heavens.
Yeah. There's a connection there?
Well, it's better than a connection. I would call, I wouldn't be surprised if a rocket was called the Tower of Babel.
One day, I'm sure it will be. Yeah.
On its, what does a rocket do? It tries to get to the heavens. What does it look like? Big fucking tower. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Dick in the sky. Which psalm was it? 73?
74.
74.
You get to see reference to the battle where Yahweh slays Tiamat before creating the universe out of its corpse. So he slays a bloke and then makes the universe out of him. It's a pretty cool story. That sounds pretty Norsey to me, doesn't it? It sounds pretty Norsey.
Yeah, well, I
Greek
guess,
mythology
I guess so.
too. A bit of Greek.
I'm just scanning it. I can't actually see anything.
Well, maybe. Okay, Psalm 74.
Psalm 74. O God, why hast thou cast off forever? Why doth thine anger smoke against the sheep of thy pasture? Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased of old, the rod of thine inheritance, which thou hast redeemed, this Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt. Lift up thy feet unto the perpetual desolations. Even all the enemy hath done wickedly in the sanctuary. Thine enemies roar in the midst of thy congregations. They set up their ensigns for signs. See, this is what I'm dealing with when I try and read this. Do you know what I mean? It's unreadable. It's unreadable.
To you, yes.
Oh, there's a mention of dragons. What's this? Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength. Thou breakest the heads of the dragons in the waters.
This is fun. Yeah. Well, this says this says thou didst shatter the heads of the sea monsters in the waters. Sea monsters, not dragons.
Oh, so I got dragons.
Yeah, see, this is the problem with translation, isn't it?
Are you in the King James? What are you in?
I'm just on Wikipedia, Psalm 74.
Yeah.
So there are different versions here. But dude, we could be talking about Psalm 74 in Judaism, perhaps, or something like that.
I know.
Not necessarily. Anyway, we're not sure. Again, normal, not sure. Let's continue on. We'll keep going with these comments. Which all this is fascinating, by the way. And a bit you might find interesting, found it all interesting. From the evidence, it looks like the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament, was written in Alexandria around 290. That's got to be AD because Alexandria wasn't Alexandria before then. By the survivors of the Elephantine Yahwehist temple. There appears to be no archaeological evidence that suggests that it existed prior to that. It also seems to be a reflex of Greek mythology inspired by Plato's Republic. If you read the corresponding Greek myths, the influence is undeniable. I agree with him about that because especially if there is stuff about Yahweh slaying another god to create the world, that's very Greek. It's very Norse. It's all the things. The idea that there's a realm of gods where the tree of life is, that's Norsey as fuck. They love big sky trees, like big universe trees. So not buying that stuff. I actually wrote back. I said there is a lot to unpack here, and there was because we just unpacked it. Actually, there's a few more interesting things here. It says also, if you are interested, read the Epic of Gilgamesh.
I've always wanted to read that.
We haven't done that yet.
No,
I'm claiming it. If
we've touched on it,
and the Enuma Elish. Lastly, did you know King David was bisexual and married to Jonathan? I was a bit thrown back by this. I mean, on relevance, Minister. I mean, what is the relevance? But interesting fact, nonetheless. It piqued my interest. I wanted to know more about King David's bisexuality. So I said, there's a lot to unpack here, and I ignored all the cool stuff and went straight to, and no, I didn't know that about King David. What are the sources for this? Was bisexuality not a taboo or outlawed by religious practices, or was this something he had to keep private?
I love all the Sky Dome and creating the universe and all that, and you're like, what are your sources on the...
oh, by the way, Kiss...
on the bisexual...
Kiss. I looked at a lot of the artwork that depicts King David and Jonathan, and he does look longingly into his eyes in every single one of these depictions. Like if you look up King David and Jonathan into Google and have a look at some of the images that... I mean, granted, these aren't photographs. These aren't taken by people who were there at the time.
No, but they're trying to depict
the adoration is undeniable.
They really have their arms around each other, don't they?
The adoration's undeniable. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're big fans
of each other. And it's quoted in we're going to get into the quotes in a sec here. Okay. As for my source, it's pretty well established fact in scholarship. That's it's a good clap back. A little background context. First, we need to establish that King David didn't exist. Most, if not all, of the patriarchs are fictional. The David myth is a riff on the Achilles and Patroclus tale.
Man, this guy knows a lot of stuff.
It's really fun. It's really fun. Second is a little more technical. In scholarship, we limit the use of the term due to henotheistic Yahwehists of 250 BC and after. Prior to that, Jews didn't exist. Israel was a Canaanite culture with the Canaanite religion and practices. It was not taboo to engage in homosexual behavior and was not outlawed when the myth originated. Though later redactors of this text did soften the relationship between David and Jonathan, it's still there. So they tried to get rid of all the gay stuff. But they went, no, they're sorry, it's still there. Tom Horner was the first to really explore the question. The two key, but not only pieces of evidence for this are one, that David loved Jonathan, quote, more than any woman, end quote. I don't know if that means gay. But anyway, or bi. Second, I would find the exact reference if you want. But at one point in the story, Jonathan quotes the marriage portion quotes the marriage portion from Ruth at David. Ruth was bisexual as well and had a child with another woman. Third, if you read the story and pay attention, Jonathan and David are seriously thirsty for each other as soon as they lay eyes on each other. Look, that is hilarious that you would say as evidence that if you read a story and pay attention that Jonathan and David are seriously thirsty for each other. Up until now, everything that he wrote has been quite academic, right?
Yeah.
But he's dropped the ball twice. He dropped the ball before, but then this was the big one when he said seriously thirsty. He's just showing his age a bit there, isn't he? Showing his age a bit. He's young.
Yeah, I wouldn't use that.
He's our
word.
age. He's
jealous,
our age or younger, potentially.
Yes.
And loving
Younger,
all this information.
I'd say.
Loving all this information.
Yeah.
Just thought the thirsty thing came out of nowhere, but love it still. I did some reading, saw some paintings. This is what I said back to him. I did some reading, saw some old paintings depicting a particularly thirsty Jonathan/David. And then I said, I'm loving the info. Thanks so much. And that's true. And he goes on to say that he's fascinated by the mythology of the Bible. Very cool stuff. It's all very cool stuff.
Yeah. So ChatGPT telling me David and Jonathan's friendship began soon after David defeated Goliath.
Oh, so right at the peak of his fame.
That's right, when he was a rock star. According to 1 Samuel 18:1, quote, the soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Yeah,
that's pretty marriagey. That's pretty one soul sort of stuff. That knitting, what are we knitting? Knitting together? That's pretty, It doesn't surprise me that homosexuality became a taboo and outlawed by religion much later. That doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me because it's the whole procreation, and so many, like a lot of Christianity arguably started as a fertility cult as well, and so homosexual sex. This is when people complain that it's unnatural and stuff like that. I think they're getting at the whole fertility issue. You can't have children like this.
That's dumb.
Because, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. You're not always trying to have children or having sex all the time.
There are married people who don't want kids.
So ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
If you're trying to populate the earth, maybe things
with
might
your soldiers. Let's put in brackets. With your soldiers.
Did you hear? This was
quickly on that topic.
It's on this. It's on the same topic, but
But I think that religion would have started out with those fundamentals that they still have today. Be nice to your fellow man. Treat everyone with respect. And over time, it just gets fucked with and changed to suit whatever's going on at the time, whatever needs are required at the time.
Power structure.
Whatever's going to get the most bang for buck. Or if you're assimilating a new culture, you want to put a bit of their stuff in, so we'll take a bit of our stuff out. Oh, you don't like this? Okay, well, we can just change this a little bit.
It gets bastardized over time.
I'm starting to understand why getting to the source material is really important, because you're getting the closest thing you can to what was actually going on back.
And this is why,
and like I said, it doesn't surprise me that they're more accepting of homosexuality and other things, and maybe like the state of women in society. I know the Egyptians were very progressive in that respect.
Totally. And Pope Francis recently apologized following reports that he said gay men should not be allowed to train for the priesthood, adding there was already an air of frocachine, which translates to faggotness. It's FROCIAGGINE.
Yeah.
So I think it's a French word. Yeah. So he said that. It was a closed door meeting with his bishops. The Vatican had to release a statement saying that the Pope did not mean to offend anyone and apologized to those who are hurt by the use of a word.
Mm-hmm.
From the Pope. This is just... Unfortunately, even if he
what a shocking admission, though, for someone of his level to say about somebody else, especially not just somebody else, but the people that work for him.
I know. It's madness. Like a guy in that, yeah.
I
Anyway.
mean, to be fair though, we're talking about Roman Catholicism here. This isn't Seventh Heaven, United States pastor guy who can still get married and have a buttload of kids, even though he's a priest. It's not how it works in most of Roman Catholicism. They're priests for life. They get married to God, just like nuns get married to God, and that's their jam. So yeah, it's really irrelevant what your sexuality is at the end of the day, because when you sign up for the priesthood, there's a vow of chastity sort of involved with that. There's celibacy. But
man, there's an
it's
air
sort of irrelevant.
There's an air of faggotiness. So come on, man. Can you?
Got too many.
Did you take that into account when you were saying that?
That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. He's shutting the rope at the front of the nightclub and going, no, sorry.
Oh, man,
we need more ladies.
We
need more ladies in here. We don't need any more of you. It's a bloody sausage fest up in this bitch. So get the fuck out.
Now, very quickly, back to your text getting bastardized over time. This is why I got very excited by the pyramid texts.
Yeah.
So
because you're talking about something which was preserved well on the walls.
It's the original writings.
It's the original, yeah.
About 100 years after.
We're still translating them though.
No, but you are translating. You are translating, but you are translating. You're right.
And even if you were translating, you're using someone else's cipher.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, we're translating, but in terms of it not being touched and not being changed by others, at least you have the text. You can read it for what it is. Yes, albeit translated, but because
as long as you can prove that the tomb was, or whatever it was sealed, then you can say no one came in here and fucked with this.
Yeah, but I mean, when they're engraved and carved into the walls, you can't. It's hard to change them. The problem is at
Giza, you can just walk up to the front post and pop your name on it in a chisel a few hundred years later, and they might attribute it to you. So the fact that it's inside the area preserved is pretty amazing.
Yes, and now we've talked about the Book of the Dead. Now the problem with that is the pyramid texts were in the Pyramid of Unas, which is a 5th dynasty pyramid. Which is early. We're talking early days now. We're in we are fucking early Egypt,
around the Giza plateau.
It's about 100 years after the Giza pyramids. So they were doing that. They were doing that
when they did this.
When they did that, because what were we talking about? The Bible was like first written 300 years after Jesus. No one's saying they weren't practicing Christianity like in that meantime. Do you know what I mean? Like Christianity
just
was
riffing about Jesus. Did you hear the time he converted like one fish into billions? I haven't heard that story, man. I'm going to tell you, it's fucking great.
Yeah, they didn't write it down and create it out of like thin air. That was sort of being propagated at the time. So it's only 100 years after that's why I find the pyramid text really sexy. So when they say the Book of the Dead, that's actually like that's like a watered down, bastardized, diluted version of the pyramid text. It was about 1,000 years later, and that's when everyone was kind of going to Star Heaven and shit, and you could just get it. You get like a script of it made and have your own thing. That's when they started commercializing.
So it's like you'd book a funeral, and if they go, "Did you want a Book of the Dead involved as well?"
And you'd be like, "Of course, I'm paying top dollar here." Yeah,
absolutely. That's the only thing I need. It's the only thing. Yes.
But the pyramid text is like the Book of the Dead, but for the royals, and it was as it was practiced at the beginning before they commercialized it. Yeah, it's being practiced just by priests. It's not for the masses. It's for it's how this star cult that they were implementing at the time was it. It's
and you
really
always
cool.
think you're always of the opinion that because they knew so much about so many things that they might have known something about the afterlife. You've always been giddy on this.
Yes.
I'm going to be really intimidated if I see if I die and all of a sudden my eyes open and Anubis is there and he's like, "Yo, rip your heart out and pop it on the table, bro." I'm gonna be like, "Man, oh boy." But look, who knows? Maybe it's more philosophy. The idea of becoming stars and stuff. Your energy is transferable. Came from there. Kind of goes around.
And who knows what these translations. We don't really know what they're saying. It's kind of. It's just an abstract version of someone's writings. I mean, language is weird, isn't it? Language is so weird. That's what's, pretty sexy about. Maybe next week I'll drop.
I do love discussing
I'll drop my
history
pyramid
because,
stuff on you.
Yeah, great. I do love when we talk about history though, because humans today we have so much access to so much information, and at the same time can't remember things that are important from last week. And we're talking about history and disagreeing on history that's thousands of years old, and literally ask the question, what did you have for breakfast last week? No idea.
No idea.
Well, I could tell you nothing, but pick a day. Doesn't matter. Nothing. But that was an easy one for me. But that's not the point. The point is that the fact that we have these, like, people have these crazy disagreements about stuff from thousands of years ago. It's like, man, we have no fucking idea sometimes.
But that's also why you do a monument and you immortalize some of the numbers and things, and you show the world.
Why?
That it's all part of the. It's all part of.
Do you think it's they're doing their due diligence? Do you think they're trying to help?
It's because they want perfection, and their maths and their architecture and their religion are all intertwined. So when they're going to build an amazing thing to venerate or whatever they're doing with it to achieve stardom, they're going to implement their maths and their religion and their architecture as one beautiful thing. Like it's like the perfect expression of of what they're trying to do.
This might be too much of a question for this late in the pod, but why are the Nubian pyramids really pointy and the Egyptian pyramids more?
I don't really care for the Nubian pyramids. What I'm going to look up a photo.
There's more intact now there's more intact there in like ancient Nubia than there is in Egypt.
They are very pointy, aren't they?
Yes.
So when were they built? I can see here the capital of the first was, it says look like 1500 to 2500 BC.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's like when the area was populated. I don't know when the Nubian pyramids were.
Well, they probably would have been doing around them because they would have had some inspiration up north as well.
They're pretty old.
To have a look at. Yep.
Approximately 255 pyramids.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot. And they're regarded for standing up, a lot of them still, but they're a bit smaller as well. They're not as big as the big boys.
They are impressively pointy.
Do you think the Egyptian builders of the pyramids would be impressed by somewhere like Notre Dame, like the cathedral, and going like, holy shit, that's gnarly?
Not in the scale. Maybe they'd say that's cute.
Cute.
Yeah. So the pyramids have more stone in them than all the cathedrals of Europe since the pyramids. So they did more construction.
Is that in your book?
That's one of the facts. There's more. Yeah. They used more stone in that 100-year period of building the pyramids than Europe has ever building religious monuments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's probably why they wanted to take it down.
Like, you can't take it down.
Bad.
It's too big.
Us look bad. Can't do it. Can't do it. We tried.
So they'll be like,
gave it a crack on the little one. It didn't work.
Yeah, it's really nice. And like this is the other thing with churches in Europe, they orientate them on the north, south, east, west axis. Like they do celestial stuff with it as well, but they can't orientate it as accurately as the Great Pyramid.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not unusual to do things that they were doing then. We do it now, just on a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hoover Dam, which is the biggest construction project since the Pyramid of Giza, that is actually a star clock. There's a part of it which speaks to the stars as it was then.
It'll tell you the day that it was built. Yeah.
So in 10,000 years, if it's still standing, like
which
something
it would
like,
be.
which it probably
maybe
would be,
8,000. Yeah,
you can determine if there was an apocalyptic event.
Oh, it'd be bad.
And we lose everything, and you come back.
That'd be awful.
Once you figure out astronomy again, you can come back and there's a star clock depicting when it was built, which is exactly what some people say the pyramids do as well.
Once you got Google Star Map installed on your Android phone, you should be able to wind back the clock and see those stars in the sky. So it's easy.
So we do all the same stuff.
Yep.
It's not unusual. It's nothing new. The pyramids don't do anything new.
Yeah.
They just did it first that we're aware of.
It's just a bummer that there's no sort of Egyptian texts that say, yo, when you die, this is exactly what happens. Let me walk it through. Like, I know we've got Book of the Deads, and I imagine it's all symbolic and meant to probably fear you into leading a good life. I think you're going to be pretty disappointed when you realize that the ancient Egyptians knew a lot about a lot of stuff. They knew a lot about astronomy. They knew a lot about mathematics. They knew a lot about philosophy, and they knew how to control a population. You know what I mean? Like, if that was another thing that they excelled at, was selling bullshit to keep people rocking up to build pyramids for no apparent reason. Or power plants. Boys.
What upsets me the most is not that they necessarily knew how to cheat death or anything like that. It's the lack of, what upsets me, honestly, is the lack of respect people have. They assume that they were barbaric and that they didn't know anything and that they didn't have any skills and that it was primitive. And
that they did the most complicated stuff for thousands and thousands of years.
They're getting completely disrespected. No one, when I say no one, I think conventionally,
yeah, I'm disrespecting them. I'm just
blown away by
I don't respect them.
what they've done.
I don't respect it because I don't think it was them. I think it was the Atlanteans that died out really quick after they helped out a bunch. I reckon that they kind of did it. I reckon I think
some of their knowledge. I think that their knowledge
around.
may have maybe
seeped in.
I think that makes more sense than anything else. I don't know how they did it. I don't know where they got the knowledge from. No one.
No, they brought it with them from in the handbags. They had handbags.
The handbags, yeah.
Yeah, you got to get your handbags, little show bags of knowledge. Here's your show bag. No, that was fun. We did get through all those comments. Thanks for sending those through. If you've got one, you can chuck it in as well.
Bang it in there.
Yeah,
we need something to talk about.
Yeah.
We're on step 1.
Whoa. So gearing up for that. I'm Val. He's Nate. We'll be back next time.